The Christmas lights on my parents' tree blinked in alternating patterns of red and green, casting shadows across the living room where I'd spent every holiday for the past 29 years. Some things never changed. The ornaments were the same ones from my childhood. The angel on top tilted slightly to the left, just as it always had. And my family's opinion of my life choices remained as fixed as the North Star. "Sarah, honey, have you updated your resume lately?" Mom asked from the kitchen, her voice carrying that particular blend of concern and disappointment I'd learned to recognize by age 12. I carefully hung a silver bell on a lower branch. "I'm not job hunting, Mom." "Well, you should be." She emerged carrying a tray of cookies. The same sugar cookies she made every year, cut into shapes of trees and stars. "You can't just keep floating from one thing to another. You're almost 30. "I'm aware of my age." Dad looked up from his newspaper, reading glasses perched on his nose. "Your mother's right. It's time to settle down. Get a stable position somewhere. Maybe something in administration. Didn't your cousin Linda get you that interview at her insurance company?" "I didn't go to that interview." "Exactly the problem." He folded the newspaper with deliberate precision. "You can't be picky when you don't have steady employment. Any job is better than no job." My older brother Michael walked in from the garage, brushing snow off his shoulders. He'd driven up from Boston with his wife, Jennifer, and their 2 kids. Michael was a dentist. Successful, respected, exactly what parents dreamed of when they imagined their children's futures. "Talking about Sarah's job situation again?" He grabbed a cookie, grinning. "What is it this time? Freelance consulting? Entrepreneur? Digital nomad?" "I have a job, Michael." "Right. The mysterious tech thing you never explain." He bit into the cookie. "Mom, these are perfect as always." Jennifer appeared, herding their 7-year-old twins toward the cookie tray. "Sarah, I saw on Facebook you haven't updated your LinkedIn in 2 years. That's not great for job hunting. I could help you optimize it if you want. I took a workshop on personal branding." "I appreciate that, but..." "She's being stubborn," Mom interjected. "She's been doing this for 3 years now. 3 years. Working from home on her laptop, never explaining what she actually does, no steady paycheck we can see. It's not sustainable." I had tried explaining. Multiple times. That first Christmas after I'd left my position as a senior software engineer at Microsoft to start Dataflow Solutions, I'd attempted to describe what we were building. A revolutionary data analytics platform that used machine learning to help healthcare systems predict patient outcomes and optimize resource allocation. Mom had smiled politely and asked if I'd considered going back to school to become a nurse instead. "Healthcare is stable, dear. And you'd be helping people." "I'm helping people, Mom. Our platform helps hospitals save lives by..." "But it's not a real job, is it? Working from your apartment, no office, no benefits. What happens when you get sick? What about retirement?" That had been 3 years ago. Since then I'd stopped trying to explain. Dataflow Solutions had grown from just me and my co-founder, Lisa, working out of my apartment to a team of 85 employees across 3 offices. We'd secured $180 million in Series B funding 8 months ago. Our client list included Johns Hopkins, Mayo Clinic, and Cleveland Clinic. Last month, the CDC had contracted us to build a national pandemic preparedness system. But my family still thought I was unemployed. "Sarah could come work at my practice," Michael offered, sprawling on the couch. "I need someone to manage the front desk. It's not glamorous, but it's steady. Benefits. Paid vacation." "That's very kind, Michael." I adjusted another ornament. "But I'm fine where I am." "Where you are is nowhere," Dad said, not unkindly. "Just matter of fact. You're spinning your wheels. At your age, your mother and I had steady careers, a house, savings. You're still living in that tiny apartment, no husband, no clear career path." My tiny apartment was a 2-bedroom loft in Seattle's Capitol Hill neighborhood that I'd purchased outright last year for $1.2 million. But they'd only seen it once, briefly, and had focused primarily on how I could make better use of the second bedroom if I got a roommate to help with rent. I hadn't bothered correcting them. "Dinner's almost ready," Mom announced. "Sarah, could you set the table?" The dining room was already decorated, centerpiece arranged, good china out. I began placing silverware while conversation drifted around me. Michael's successful practice, his kids' achievements in school, Jennifer's promotion to senior marketing director, my cousin's engagement to a lawyer. And what about you, Sarah? Aunt Carol asked as we sat down to dinner. She'd arrived while I was in the kitchen, wrapped in a fur coat and trailing perfume. What are you up to these days? She's between opportunities, Mom said quickly, passing the mashed potatoes. But actively looking. I'm not. The job market is tough, Aunt Carol sympathized. My neighbor's daughter was unemployed for 6 months. She finally found something at Starbucks. Not ideal, but at least it's income. Sarah's situation is different, Dad added, carving the turkey. She has a degree. Computer something. Computer science, I corrected. From MIT. Right. So she's overqualified for most positions, but she doesn't have the practical experience employers want. He said this as if I weren't sitting right there. It's a difficult position. Michael raised his wine glass. Here's hoping the new year brings better opportunities. They all drank to that. I ate my turkey in silence. After dinner we moved back to the living room. The TV was on. Some news channel running holiday programming. Mom distributed presents while Dad poked at the fireplace, trying to get a proper blaze going. This is for you, Sarah. Mom handed me a wrapped box. Practical gift this year. We thought you might need it. I unwrapped it carefully. Inside was a leather portfolio case with a notepad, pen and business card holder. The kind of thing you'd bring to job interviews. For when you start interviewing properly, Mom explained. First impressions matter. Thank you. There's something else. Dad reached behind the couch and pulled out an envelope. Your mother and I discussed it. We know money's probably tight. This should help tide you over. Just until you get back on your feet. The check inside was for $5,000. Mom, Dad, I can't. We insist, Mom said firmly. You're our daughter. We're not going to let you struggle during the holidays. Use it for rent, groceries, whatever you need. And please, Sarah, really commit to finding something stable in January. No more of this freelance consultant nonsense. Michael leaned over, saw the check and whistled. Generous. When I was your age, I was already established. Didn't need handouts. Michael, Jennifer chided gently. I'm just saying. She needs motivation to get serious about her career. I folded the check and placed it back in the envelope, setting it on the coffee table. I appreciate the thought, but I don't need financial help. Pride isn't going to pay your bills, Dad said. Take the money. I'm not being prideful. I'm telling you I don't need. We've been over this, Mom interrupted. You say you're fine, but we never see evidence of it. No steady job, no career progression, no. The TV volume suddenly increased. My nephew had grabbed the remote, accidentally hitting the volume button while reaching for a cookie. Breaking news this Christmas evening, the CNN anchor's voice filled the room. We're interrupting our holiday programming for a major technology story that's been developing throughout the day. Turn that down, sweetie, Jennifer told her son. But the screen had changed. The CNN logo. Breaking news in red letters. And a headline, Mystery Tech Founder Revealed. The identity of the anonymous founder behind Dataflow Solutions, one of the fastest-growing healthcare technology companies in America, has finally been confirmed, the anchor continued. For 3 years the company has maintained strict privacy about its leadership, but CNN has exclusively learned. My phone buzzed in my pocket. A text from Lisa, my co-founder. I know you're with family. I'm so sorry. The story leaked early. It's everywhere. Dataflow Solutions made headlines earlier this year when they secured $180 million in funding, the anchor said. The company's revolutionary healthcare analytics platform has been adopted by over 400 hospitals nationwide and is credited with saving an estimated 10,000 lives through improved patient outcome predictions. Mom reached for the remote. Let's find something more festive. Wait, Michael said, sitting up straighter. That company name sounds familiar. The founder, who has operated under strict anonymity, has now been identified as 29-year-old Sarah Mitchell, a former Microsoft engineer who left her position 3 years ago to start the company from her Seattle apartment. The room went silent. My photo appeared on screen. Not a casual picture, but my official press photo. The one we'd taken last month for the Forbes technology feature that was scheduled to run in January. Somehow CNN had obtained it early. That's... Aunt Carol pointed at the screen. That's Sarah. According to sources close to the company, Mitchell personally owns 68% of Dataflow Solutions, which at its current valuation of $2.1 billion, makes her personal net worth approximately $1.4 billion. Dad's wine glass slipped from his hand, red wine splashing across the carpet. No one moved to clean it. That can't be right, Mom whispered. Sarah. The broadcast continued. Mitchell, who graduated from MIT with degrees in computer science and biomedical engineering, began developing Dataflow's core technology while still employed at Microsoft. The platform uses advanced machine learning algorithms to analyze patient data in real time, helping healthcare providers predict complications, optimize treatment plans, and allocate resources more efficiently. They cut to footage of a hospital. I recognized it as Johns Hopkins. A doctor in scrubs stood in what looked like a busy ICU. Dataflow has revolutionized how we practice medicine, the doctor said. The predictive accuracy is unlike anything we've seen before. We've reduced patient mortality in our ICU by 23% since implementation. Sarah Mitchell's technology is saving lives every single day. Back to the studio anchor. The CDC recently awarded Dataflow Solutions a $300 million contract to build a national pandemic preparedness and response system. The company, which started with just 2 employees, now has a team of 85 across offices in Seattle, Boston, and Washington, D.C. Michael had his phone out, frantically typing. This is real. It's on Bloomberg, Wall Street Journal, Forbes. Mitchell has been notoriously private, rarely giving interviews and never appearing at industry conferences, the anchor continued. But those who've worked with her describe a brilliant, driven innovator who's fundamentally changing healthcare technology. They showed a clip from a medical technology conference. The moderator was speaking. Dataflow's founder is a genius. Absolutely revolutionary work. The fact that she's accomplished this by 30 while maintaining complete anonymity is remarkable. Wait, Jennifer said, her voice faint. You own a billion-dollar company? $2.1 billion, Michael corrected, staring at his phone. Current valuation. Sarah, is this actually you? The TV switched to another image. A screenshot of the Forbes article that wasn't supposed to publish until January. The headline, The Invisible Billionaire, How Sarah Mitchell Built Healthcare's Secret Empire. Mom made a sound somewhere between a gasp and a sob. We reached out to Mitchell for comment, the CNN anchor said, but her representatives declined to provide a statement. However, the company did confirm her identity and released this prepared statement. Dataflow Solutions was founded with a single mission: to save lives through better data. Our founder's vision and leadership have made that mission a reality in hospitals across America. We're proud of the work we've done and the patients we've helped. Dad finally spoke, his voice hoarse. Sarah? I looked at my family. All of them staring. Mom's face pale. Dad looked like he might be sick. Michael's expression cycled through shock, confusion, and something that might have been embarrassment. It's true, I said simply. But you said. Mom couldn't finish the sentence. I tried to tell you. Multiple times. You didn't want to hear it. You said you worked in tech, Michael protested. You didn't say you owned. He gestured helplessly at the TV, where they were now showing the exterior of our Seattle headquarters. I said I founded a healthcare technology company. I explained what we do. You told me it wasn't a real job. Joining us now is tech analyst David Chin, the CNN anchor said. David, help us understand the significance of Dataflow Solutions in the healthcare industry. A new face appeared on split screen. This is one of the most important healthcare innovations of the decade, the analyst said. What Sarah Mitchell has built isn't just a successful company. It's technology that's fundamentally changing how medicine is practiced. The predictive algorithms are so accurate that hospitals using Dataflow see measurably better patient outcomes. We're talking about thousands of lives saved. And she's done this in 3 years, starting from nothing. From nothing, the anchor asked. From her apartment. Self-funded initially. Then a small angel investment round. She maintained absolute control of the company, refusing to give up decision-making power even as funding increased. That's almost unheard of in tech. Most founders get diluted down to minority stakes. Mitchell kept 68%. That's brilliant business strategy combined with revolutionary technology. Jennifer was reading her phone, her eyes getting wider. There's an article here about your apartment. Says you bought it for. Sarah, it says you paid cash for $1 million loft. 1.2 million, I corrected quietly. The article got the number wrong. Aunt Carol had both hands over her mouth. The other remarkable aspect, the TV analyst continued, is Mitchell's intentional anonymity. In an industry obsessed with founder celebrity, your Elon Musks, your Mark Zuckerbergs, she's remained almost completely unknown outside of healthcare circles. No social media presence. No conference appearances. No press interviews. Just pure focus on the technology and the mission. Why the privacy? The anchor asked. According to those who know her, Mitchell believes the work should speak for itself. She's not interested in being famous. She's interested in solving problems. That's refreshing in Silicon Valley, where founders often become celebrities before their companies even prove viable. Mom stood abruptly, walking to the window. Her shoulders were shaking. Dad rubbed his face with both hands. The check, he said. We gave you a check. We tried to give you $5,000. I know. You're a billionaire and we tried to give you $5,000 because we thought you couldn't pay rent. I know, Dad. Michael was reading article after article, scrolling rapidly. This one says you turned down a $900 million acquisition offer from Google last year. $900 million. You said no. It wasn't enough. And they wanted control of the technology. I wasn't willing to give that up. Not enough. His voice cracked. I've been working 12 years to build a practice worth maybe $2 million and you turned down $900 million because it wasn't enough? It wasn't about the money, Michael. It was about keeping the mission intact. The mission, he repeated flatly. Saving lives. That's always been the mission. That's why I started this company. Jennifer set her phone down carefully as if it might explode. The article says Johns Hopkins credits your platform with reducing ICU mortality by 23%. 23%. Do you understand what that means? Yes. It means approximately 400 fewer patients died in their ICU last year than would have without our system. 400 people are alive because of you. Because of the team. Because of the technology. I just started it. You just started it, Jennifer echoed. You just built $1 billion company that's saving hundreds of lives and you never mentioned it. I tried. No one wanted to listen. Mom turned from the window, tears streaming down her face. I called it a phase. I told Carol you were going through an unemployment phase. I know. I gave you a portfolio case for job interviews. I know, Mom. I've been telling everyone my daughter can't keep a steady job while you're. She couldn't finish. The TV had moved on to interviewing a hospital administrator. Before data flow, we were making treatment decisions based on experience and instinct. Now we have data-driven insights that dramatically improve outcomes. This technology will be standard in every hospital within 5 years. Sarah Mitchell's company is the future of healthcare. Dad picked up the envelope with the check, staring at it. You must think we're idiots. No. We tried to give you money. Career advice. We suggested you work as a receptionist at Michael's dental practice. You were trying to help. I understand that. You let us think you were failing. I told you I wasn't. You didn't believe me. Because you never showed us. You never brought us to your office or explained the scope or. I tried, Dad. Remember 2 Christmases ago? I explained the funding round, the hospital partnerships, the CDC interest. You told me it sounded like a scam. You said I should be careful about get-rich-quick schemes and find a real job. He opened his mouth, then closed it. Michael was still scrolling. There's a profile here from MIT's Alumni magazine. It came out 6 months ago. Sarah Mitchell, class of 2018, is revolutionizing healthcare technology through data flow solutions. It's all here. Everything you've accomplished. Did you send us this? I did. I sent it to the family email list. I don't remember seeing. He stopped, his face reddening. I probably deleted it without reading. I thought it was spam. I know. Another phone started ringing. Then another. Aunt Carol answered hers, listened for a moment, then said, Yes, that's my niece. Yes, the one on CNN. No, we had no idea. We thought she was unemployed. She hung up looking dazed. That was Margaret from my book club. She saw the news. Mom's phone buzzed repeatedly. She glanced at it, then set it down as if it had burned her. Everyone's texting. Everyone's asking about you. About why we never mentioned you were. She gestured helplessly at the TV. The CNN broadcast had moved to discussing market implications. Dataflow's technology could be worth significantly more than the current $2.1 billion valuation, an investment analyst was saying. If they expand internationally or develop additional applications for their core algorithms, we could see a company worth $10 billion or more within 5 years. Jennifer stood suddenly. I need air. She walked to the front door, opened it despite the cold, just standing there. The twins, who'd been playing with toys in the corner, finally spoke up. Is Aunt Sarah famous? Yes, buddy, Michael said quietly. Apparently Aunt Sarah is very famous. Cool. Is she rich like Iron Man? Richer, probably. Whoa. Out of the mouths of babes. Dad cleared his throat. Sir, we owe you an apology. Do you? Of course we do. We've treated you like a failure for 3 years while you were building something extraordinary. You treated me the way you wanted to see me. I tried to correct that perception. You weren't interested in being corrected. That's not fair. Isn't it? Every time I tried to explain what I was doing, you changed the subject or offered me career advice or suggested I apply to dental receptionist positions. You didn't want to hear about my success because it didn't fit the narrative you'd created. Mom wiped her eyes. Why didn't you force us to understand? How? I showed you articles. I explained the technology. I invited you to visit the office. You were always too busy or not interested. At a certain point, I realized you needed me to be the unsuccessful daughter. It made Michael's achievements stand out more. He gave you a project to fix. It was easier than accepting that maybe I knew what I was doing. That's not true, Michael said, but his voice lacked conviction. Isn't it? Be honest, Michael. When was the last time Mom and Dad spent an entire dinner talking about your accomplishments without mentioning mine as a comparison point? He didn't answer. I'm the measuring stick for failure in this family. Always have been. The weird one who liked computers too much. The one who made unconventional choices. The one who didn't follow the standard path. And you know what? I'm okay with that. I stopped needing your approval 3 years ago when I decided to take the risk of starting this company. We're your family, Dad said. You should need our approval. No, Dad. I should have your support. There's a difference. Approval means you judge whether my choices meet your standards. Support means you trust me to make my own decisions and back me up regardless. The TV had moved on to showing footage of our Boston office. Employees walking through a modern workspace, working at standing desks, collaborating in glass-walled conference rooms. The company culture at Dataflow is reportedly exceptional, the reporter narrated. Mitchell is known for prioritizing employee well-being, offering generous benefits, and maintaining a clear mission-focused environment. Employee reviews consistently rate it as one of the best places to work in tech. Aunt Carol's phone rang again. She glanced at it, declined the call, then silenced the phone entirely. Everyone in town is going to know by tomorrow. Everyone in the country knows right now, Jennifer said from the doorway. This is national news. International, Michael corrected, looking at his phone. BBC is covering it. So is Reuters. You're trending #1 on Twitter. I checked my own phone. 63 missed calls. 147 texts. Emails numbering in the hundreds. My PR team was having a meltdown in the company Slack channel. Lisa had texted, hiding in my bathroom. Parents keep calling. Do we have a statement ready? I typed back. Use the standard one. Don't deviate. I'll handle my family. Sarah. Mom approached slowly like I was a wild animal that might bolt. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I know. No, you don't. You don't know how much I regret this. The things I said. The way I treated your success like it was a phase or a joke. I'm your mother. I should have believed in you. Yes. You should have. Can you forgive me? I looked at her, really looked at her. She was 62, wearing the same Christmas sweater she wore every year, her hair still styled the way she'd worn it since the 80s. My mother, who'd raised me and loved me and fundamentally underestimated me for 3 consecutive years. I don't know yet, I said honestly. Right now I'm just tired, Mom. I'm tired of being the disappointment. I'm tired of defending my choices. I'm tired of trying to prove I know what I'm doing. You don't have to prove anything anymore. Don't I? If this story hadn't broken, if CNN hadn't revealed my identity, would any of you believe me right now? Or would you still be handing me checks and career advice and suggesting I work retail? No one answered. That's what hurts, Mom. Not that you didn't understand my success, but that you weren't willing to trust me when I told you I was successful. You needed external validation, Forbes, CNN billion-dollar valuations, before you'd believe your own daughter. Dad set down his wine glass carefully. What do you need from us? I don't know. Maybe just acknowledgement. Acknowledgement that you were wrong. That I was right. That I made good decisions even when they didn't look like the decisions you would have made. You were right, he said immediately. About everything. The company, the mission, the choices. You were right and we were wrong. And you're brilliant. You've accomplished something extraordinary. Something that will save lives and change healthcare and make you one of the most successful people in the country. And we missed it. We missed all of it because we were too busy trying to fit you into a box that made sense to us. Michael stood up, walked over and extended his hand. You're better than all of us. I'm sorry I couldn't see it. I shook his hand. I'm not better. I'm just different. And I'm good at what I do. You're not just good. He gestured at the TV, where they were showing a graph of Dataflow's growth trajectory. You're exceptional. World class. You're going to be in textbooks. Business schools are going to study what you've built. Maybe. Definitely. Jennifer had come back inside, closing the door against the cold. Sarah, I've worked in marketing for 15 years. I know viral success when I see it. By tomorrow morning you're going to be the biggest story in tech. Probably the biggest business story of the year. Your face will be everywhere. I know. That's what I was trying to avoid. The anonymity? I prefer to work without the distraction of publicity. It's easier to focus on problems when you're not managing a public persona. That's over now, she said gently. Once this news cycle starts, there's no stopping it. You're going to be famous whether you like it or not. My phone rang. I glanced at the caller ID, Anderson Cooper's producer. I declined the call. It rang again immediately. Different number. Forbes. Declined. Declined. You should probably answer some of those, Michael said. Eventually. Not tonight. Why not? Because tonight was supposed to be Christmas with my family. And even though it's completely derailed, even though CNN just exposed my identity against my wishes, even though everything is chaos, I'm still here. I'm still trying to have Christmas dinner with you people. Because that's what matters to me. Family. Even when you drive me absolutely insane. Mom started crying again, but this time she was smiling. You're a better person than we deserve. Probably. I managed a small smile of my own. But you're stuck with me anyway. The doorbell rang. We all froze. Are those reporters? Dad asked. I checked the security camera feed on my phone. Worse. It's the neighbors. Don't answer, Aunt Carol hissed. They can see the lights. They know we're home. The doorbell rang again, followed by knocking. Dad opened the door. The Hendersons from next door stood on the porch, dressed in matching Christmas sweaters, holding a bottle of wine. We saw the news, Mrs. Henderson said breathlessly. We had no idea Sarah was. We just wanted to say congratulations. Thank you, I said from the living room. Could we get a picture? Mr. Henderson already had his phone out. Our friends will never believe we live next door to a billionaire. I'd really prefer not. Just one quick photo. Dad ushered them inside. They posed with me in front of the Christmas tree while Michael took the photo. Then they wanted individual photos. Then a group shot with my parents. This is so exciting, Mrs. Henderson gushed. Wait until the neighborhood association hears about this. They finally left. But before the door even closed, another car was pulling up. Then another. It's starting, Jennifer observed. The circus. He was right. Over the next hour we had 7 more visitors. Neighbors, family, friends, people from Mom's book club, Dad's golf buddies. Everyone suddenly wanted to reconnect with the family of the billion-dollar tech founder. By 9 p.m. I'd had enough. I need to go, I announced. You can't leave, Mom protested. It's Christmas. It stopped being Christmas about 3 hours ago. Now it's a media circus and I need to get ahead of it. Stay here. We'll keep people away. Mom, there are photographers setting up across the street. Tomorrow morning this house will be surrounded. I need to get back to Seattle, meet with my team, coordinate our response. This is going to be the biggest week of the company's existence. I need to manage it. Dad looked out the window. Sure enough, there were people with cameras on the sidewalk. How did they find you so fast? He asked. I'm not hard to find. My parents' address is probably in a dozen databases. Once CNN confirmed my identity, every journalist in the country started digging. What do we do? Nothing. Don't give interviews. Don't answer questions. Refer everything to our PR team. I'll send you their contact information. Sarah, Mom grabbed my hand. Before you go, please, I need you to know how proud I am. How sorry I am. How much I love you. I know, Mom. Do you? Because I feel like I've spent 3 years telling you the exact opposite. You did. So how can you forgive me? I squeezed her hand. I didn't say I forgive you. I said I know you love me. Those are different things. Forgiveness takes time. But love. Love was never the question. I've always known you love me. You just didn't respect me. I do now. Because CNN told you to. Because Forbes confirmed it. Because the world is telling you I'm successful and important and worth listening to. But Mom, I needed you to respect me before the validation. I needed you to believe in me when it was just me telling you about my dreams. That's the respect that matters. She nodded, tears streaming again. I'll earn it back. However long it takes. Okay. I hugged them all. Mom, Dad, Michael, Jennifer, even Aunt Carol. The twins got high fives. Then I grabbed my coat and headed for the door. Sarah, Michael called out. For what it's worth. I really am proud of you. Not because of the money or the valuation or the news coverage. But because you did something meaningful. You're saving lives. That's bigger than anything I'll ever do. You're a dentist, Michael. You help people every day. Don't discount that. It's not the same. It's different. Doesn't mean it's less important. I stepped out into the cold. The photographers immediately started snapping pictures, shouting questions. Ms. Mitchell, how does it feel to be revealed? Ms. Mitchell, will you do interviews? Ms. Mitchell, what's next for data flow? I didn't answer. My car was in the driveway, a simple Honda Civic I'd owned for 4 years. Not the flashy Tesla or luxury sedan people probably expected a billionaire to drive. As I pulled out of the driveway, I could see my family watching from the window. Mom was still crying. Dad had his arm around her. Michael and Jennifer stood behind them, twins pressed against the glass. My phone rang. I answered on Bluetooth. Hey. Hey yourself. You okay? Define okay. Fair point. The office is going crazy. We've had 63 interview requests in the last 2 hours. Every major outlet wants a sit-down. Forbes wants to move up their feature. The Wall Street Journal wants an exclusive. And Anderson Cooper personally called to request an interview. No to all of them. Sarah, we can't ignore this. You're the biggest story in tech. We need a media strategy. Then here's the strategy. 1 press conference. Tomorrow. We release a statement, I answer exactly 5 questions, then we're done. After that, we go back to work. 1 press conference won't be enough. It'll have to be. Lisa, we didn't build this company to make me famous. We built it to save lives. That mission doesn't change just because CNN figured out my name. The world wants to know your story. The world can read about it in Forbes next month. Right now we have work to do. We have a CDC system to build. We have hospital partnerships to maintain. We have patients depending on our technology to stay alive. That's what matters. Not my face on TV. Silence on the line. You're right, Lisa finally said. You're absolutely right. I usually am. She laughed. There's the Sarah I know. Welcome back to the spotlight you've been avoiding. Thanks. I hate it. I know. But maybe some good will come from it. Young women interested in tech. More investment opportunities. Better partnerships. Maybe. And Sarah? Your family, are they okay? They will be. Eventually. Once they process that their unemployed daughter is actually a billionaire who's been lying by omission for 3 years. You weren't lying. You were protecting your privacy. Tell that to my mother. I drove through the quiet streets toward the highway. Behind me, my parents' neighborhood was lighting up with more camera crews, more reporters, more people drawn to the sudden proximity to extraordinary wealth and success. But ahead of me was Seattle. My team. The work that mattered. My phone buzzed with a text from Mom. I love you. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I texted back, I know. Love you too. Talk tomorrow. Another text, this time from Michael. You really turned down $900 million? You're insane. But also kind of my hero. I smiled. The highway stretched out before me, dark and empty on Christmas night. Somewhere ahead was the rest of my life. Now lived in public, scrutinized and analyzed and picked apart by people who'd never bothered to notice me before. But also ahead was the work. The mission. The patients whose lives would be saved by technology I'd spent 3 years building while my family thought I was unemployed. And that made everything worth it. Even the chaos. Even the exposure. Even the Christmas dinner from hell where CNN revealed my identity to a family who'd spent 3 years trying to fix a daughter who was never broken. I turned up the radio. Holiday music filled the car. And despite everything, I started to laugh. Because somewhere in the absurdity and chaos and complete derailment of my carefully maintained anonymity, there was something almost perfect about the timing. My family had spent 3 years underestimating me. And CNN had picked Christmas Day, the day we were all together, the day they were handing me checks and career advice, to prove them spectacularly, publicly and irrevocably wrong. If I'd planned it myself, I couldn't have written it better.